Have you ever wondered if you truly know who your real friends are? Get ready for a woolly adventure where some fluffy sheep learn a very important lesson in the wolves. The sheep and the loyal dogs.
On sun-kissed green hills, a flock of fluffy white sheep nibbled sweet grass. They were safe and happy, thanks to their two brave guardian dogs. The dogs, with their shaggy brown fur and alert ears, stood watch over the pasture every day. They kept a careful eye on the edge of the forest where shadows often danced. Peace filled the air, and the sheep felt truly secure. Not far away, hidden among the tall, dark trees, 3 hungry wolves watched. Their sleek gray fur blended with the shadows, and their sharp yellow eyes gleamed with mischief. They longed to taste the sweet grass of the pasture, and more so the juicy sheep. The brave dogs kept them at a respectful distance, making the wolves growl in frustration. They knew they needed a clever plan to get past those watchful protectors. One clever wolf, the biggest one with the deepest growl, whispered a sneaky idea to his companions. "Why do we always fight with those dogs?" he murmured, showing off his sharp teeth and a sly grin. "They're the ones causing all the trouble between us and the sheep." The other 2 wolves nodded, their yellow eyes twinkling with agreement. This plan was very tricky indeed. The very next morning, the cunning wolves approached the pasture fence, not with barks or snarls, but with smiles. They kept a safe distance from the 2 watchful dogs, who barked a warning. "Good morning, dear sheep," called one wolf, his voice surprisingly gentle. "We just want to talk, not to cause any harm." The brave dogs with their shaggy brown fur stood ready, sensing a trick. "Friends," began the biggest wolf, his voice sweet as honey, "why is there always this hostility between our kinds? It brings sadness to all." He looked around mournfully, pretending to be very sorry. "If only those noisy dogs were not always stirring up trouble between us." The sheep, with their soft brown eyes, listened from behind their guardians, confused. This sounded so different from the usual wolf howls. "Truly," added another wolf, wagging his tail slowly, "if it were not for those grumpy dogs, we are sure we would get along beautifully. We would share stories and play games." The dogs growled softly, understanding the danger in the wolves' words, their shaggy brown fur bristling. But the sheep looked at each other, their gentle eyes wide with wonder. The idea of friendship sounded very appealing indeed. "So, please," pleaded the first wolf, placing a paw over his heart, "send them away, dear sheep, just for a little while, and you will see what good friends we shall truly become." He held out a paw as if for a handshake, but the dogs stepped forward quickly. The air grew tense, but the wolves kept their sweet smiles fixed on their faces, hoping to trick the gullible sheep. The innocent sheep began to murmur among themselves. "Perhaps the wolves are right," one ewe whispered to another. "The dogs do bark a lot." The idea of playing with friendly wolves and not having the stern dogs around seemed very nice. They completely forgot how many times the dogs had kept them safe from real danger, and how much the dogs truly cared. With hopeful hearts, the sheep turned to their loyal dogs. "Dear friends," one sheep began, its voice soft, "the wolves promise to be friends if you leave. Could you please just go away for tonight?" The 2 brave dogs looked at the sheep they loved, their kind brown eyes filled with sadness and worry. They knew the danger, but the sheep insisted. With heavy hearts and lowered tails, the loyal dogs slowly walked away from the pasture. Their shaggy brown fur seemed to droop with every step, and they cast longing glances back at the sheep. They didn't want to leave, but they had promised to protect and respect the sheep's wishes. As they disappeared over the hill, a quiet sadness settled over the pasture. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in fiery oranges and gentle purples. A chill wind swept across the now silent pasture. The sheep felt a little thrill of excitement, imagining their new wolf friends. They waited expectantly, feeling a strange mix of hope and a tiny bit of worry without their brave guardians around. The shadows grew longer as dusk arrived. Soon, dark shapes emerged from the forest. Not 3 friendly wolves, but a whole pack, their eyes gleaming with true hunger. Their sly smiles were gone, replaced by sharp teeth and hungry snarls. The sheep gasped in fear, realizing their terrible mistake. The air quickly filled with a chilling wolf howl, and then a chorus of them. A loud "Baa!" of pure alarm echoed across the pasture as the sheep scattered. There was no time to fetch the dogs, no time to hide. The sheep felt a terrible regret wash over them, cold as the night air. Their hearts thumped like drums against their ribs as the wolves closed in on them, ready for their grand feast. The peaceful pasture was now a place of fear. That evening, the wolves indeed had their grandest feast. It was a feast of foolishness, a sad lesson learned too late by the trusting sheep. The happy bleating sounds of the day were replaced by sorrowful silence, all because they had been tricked into sending away their true protectors, believing false promises of friendship from cunning enemies. And so, children, this sad tale teaches us a very important lesson. Always listen to those who truly care for you and protect you, even if their warnings seem strict. Be careful of sweet words from strangers who promise easy friendship. True friends, like the brave dogs, show their loyalty through their actions, not just their words.
Ever dreamed of being the hero? Now you get to be the star. Your adventure starts at TalesMio. Visit talesmio.com now.